Another common difficulty for families dealing with addiction is the propensity to enable their loved one. The definition of enabling is providing the means or opportunity, making possible, practical, or easy.
Enabling, that is trying to help a person and actually doing something that harms them. For example, if somebody is drinking heavily, say a father in the family is drinking heavily and is running out of booze and says, I'm going into withdrawal, and asks his daughter to go out and get booze so that he doesn't go into withdrawal. She may feel that she's helping him, but actually those are the times where intervention is very effective.
Some of the common pitfalls, though, are covering up for the person who got in trouble. You lend them money to bail out, you give them a place to live, you talk to their employer, so you're trying to cover up.
I thought I was not enabling my child, but it turns out that I was, because I would do things like pick up the pieces when her life fell apart. That didn't make it hard enough for her. That didn't make her remember where she had fallen. It didn't make her remember how severe her consequences were. And I had to break my addiction. In Al-Anon, they do teach you to go through the 12 steps as if you were an addict. And I think that's very helpful for some parents to do.
My family would lie and do things. They'd give me money. That was the biggest thing. They would let me come home and lay up and drink. I was married. I was sober. But my wife was an addict. And I tried to do all the things that I used to do to my mom. I'd cover up for her and make up stories why she couldn't be somewhere and tell lies why she couldn't go to work. That was enabling her to continue doing what she was doing.
I think a family has to be able to let go enough to let the addict face the consequences for what they've done, whether that's jail, whether that's getting fired or getting kicked out of school or losing their place to live, because those consequences are the things that help me get into recovery.
I've always liked the saying that you can love an addict to death. You can do so much for them, but it's slowly but surely killing them. You have to hit rock bottom or you'll never come up.
There are practical things that families can do to avoid enabling their loved one to continue in addiction, and that will help their loved one into a place where they can choose recovery. One of the major things for families is learning to detach with love.
It helped us too when we learned to detach. I think that was a turning point for me when I realized that I could help her with responsible choices, but not help her with the same old things I was doing before, paying her cell phone bill, paying her her rent, paying her utilities, helping her free up whatever money she might have working to buy drugs. One of her counselors told me early on, if you give her money, it's like signing her death warrant. You know, a parent would lay down their life for their child. At some point, you have to realize that pulling back is probably the best approach.
You have your own life to live, apart from a lifestyle that is not something that you want to be a part of, but that your loved one has chosen. You've just become exhausted. It gives you time to pause and to step back, detach if you want to say, and look at it from a different viewpoint.
My family, whenever I was in my addiction, they loved me, but they loved me from afar. They didn't come to my rescue when I picked up the phone and said, hey, I'm out here in the middle of the street. You can't keep rescuing an addict. I mean, they've got to deal with what's going on. You know, all you can really do is pray for them, and when they come on their own for help, you know, be there for them when they finally realize that they need some help.
You love differently in that you make different choices, and you realize that if I am to love this person, I've got to quit enabling them to destroy their life. It takes recognition, because most of what you do at the start of this process is instinctive. You just rally to support, in our case, a child or any loved one. That's what we're to do. That's how we're designed. And what you have to work yourself into is understanding that I'm not helping. I'm only prolonging. And unless there's a change of method, unless there's a change of tactic, no lessening of love, no lessening of desire for wholeness to be restored, but changing the way we interact with that addict, it's nothing will change.
There's always comes a time when you have to leave the person or let the person do what they're going to do. And that's really, really hard. I don't say that lightly. I've seen people that you never think would recover, get into recovery. I mean, years, decades of active opiate addiction, heroin addiction, alcoholism, and then something clicks with them and they get in recovery and the process starts. I guess for families, it's always a question of when to let go. Do you let the person struggling take you down as well and take the rest of your family down as well? I believe with all my heart that I got in recovery because I know of at least one person who loved me dearly that never stopped praying for me. And that's my grandmother. And she didn't confront me a lot. She didn't really address the issue. But I found out later that she prayed for me every single day. Is there anything more powerful that you can do for a loved one? I don't think so.
Here are some practical tips for detaching with love from an addicted loved one. Don't provide money. Don't pay bills, fines, or expenses. Don't pay loans. Don't cover up and lie for the addict. Don't make excuses. Don't do things for the addict that they should be able to do when sober and clean. Don't lend or give things that an addict could then sell. Set boundaries. It takes time to become aware of the ways we enable the addict in our life, but perhaps with the information we have just heard, you can begin to remove the factors that are causing you and your loved one more harm than good.